Welcome back to AI Weekly News by Cyber Intel Systems. I'm glad you're with us. I'm your host, Leo Smith. Today's story is about measuring how much of the web shows signs of AI writing. Researchers evaluated page text with Open Pangram, a machine learning detector trained to distinguish patterns associated with human and AI writing. The model uses combinations of word choice and sentence structure, rather than relying on one punctuation mark or fashionable phrases. That limitation changes the responsible claim. The study can estimate trends across a large sample because some individual errors may average out. It cannot determine with certainty that a particular article, student paper, or company page was generated. Pew explicitly frames the results as pages showing significant signs of AI authorship. Domin type produced a striking difference. In recent samples, about 9.4% of .com pages showed AI signals. The rate was 4.6% for .org pages and around 1% for .edu and .gov pages. Domain names do not guarantee quality, but they suggest AI text. Pew also tracked language features that have become more common since 2023. M-dashes appeared about twice as often. Oxford commas rose 63%, selected AI-favored vocabulary more than doubled, and negative comparisons such as not just one thing, but another nearly tripled from a small base. None of these features proves AI use because humans wrote that way before chatbots existed. The age of the page explains the gap between 10 and 35%. A random web snapshot contains old pages that could not have been written with modern generative tools. Filtering to post-chat, JPT publication dates asks a narrower question about new material, but publication dates themselves can be incomplete or revised. Search engines now index a web where a growing share of new text may be machine-assisted that can lower publishing costs and improve translation or accessibility. It can also fill search results with repetitive summaries that add little original evidence, making source selection and provenance more valuable. Model developers face a feedback problem. Future training sets may contain more text produced by earlier models without filtering and source weighting. Systems can learn repeated errors, synthetic style, or low diversity phrasing. The important issue is not that all AI-assisted text is bad, but that its origin and editorial process may be invisible. Let's pause here for a short break. We'll be right back after this bumper. Welcome back. If you find this useful, follow and subscribe to AI Weekly News. Now, let's continue the news. Publishers may respond by emphasizing first-hand reporting, original data, named expertise, and transparent editing. Those signals cost more to produce, but become easier to distinguish from bulk generated pages. Detection vendors may also see demand, although their tools need calibrated error rates and careful limits on high-stakes use. A detector score should never be treated like a plagiarism verdict. If a school, employer, or platform acts on one document, it needs corroborating evidence, an appeal process, and an understanding of false positives. Writers who use formal language, translation tools, or accessibility support can be affected unevenly. For aggregate research, reproducibility matters. Analysts should preserve sampling rules, model versions, thresholds, and publication date methods so later studies can repeat the work. Detection models change and generated writing changes in response to detectors, so one number should not become a permanent estimate of the web. The most useful follow-up would compare detector-based estimates with pages whose production process is known. Researchers could also separate light editing from fully generated text and measure factual quality, citation practices, originality, and correction. Authorship alone does not tell us whether a page is useful or reliable. Pew's analysis offers strong evidence that AI-associated writing patterns are rising across the English language web. 10% of a broad July sample and about 35% of post-ChatGPT pages showed significant signals with the highest rates on commercial domains. The findings should sharpen questions about provenance, search quality, and training data without turning detector output into an accusation. Watch for reported studies, validated error rates, and clearer disclosure from publishers. The web is changing, but measuring that change responsibly requires more than recognizing a familiar phrase. Thank you for listening to AI Weekly News by Cyber Intel Systems. Subscribe and join us next week for the latest AI stories.